All right. Hello, everyone. This is Mark Fiquez, the Ballpark Hunter, and you're listening to the Ballpark Hunter podcast. And with me today is the Director of Baseball Operations for the Newport Gulls, Mr. Michael Falcone. Michael, welcome to the show.
How you doing today? Thank you
So,
for having me.
no problem. So, how's the weather right now in Newport, Rhode Island, where you're based out of?
We're doing pretty well up here, probably right around 80 degrees, sunny. Haven't had we had a little bit of spurt of rain last night, which the field definitely needed, but no, we're beautiful baseball weather all week. It's been awesome, and we got a game later today that we're looking forward to.
Great. And the reason why I brought Michael on was the fact that Cardines Field is where your ball club plays out of. Has to be one of the most unique, quirky, distinctive places that the game is played, not only in New England, but I think all across the planet. And I'm not sure what makes it distinct. There's so many things I can talk about, but Michael, I want to get an expert. If you're explaining this ballpark to somebody and its dimensions or its seating, like what's the first thing you say to people about Cardines?
I always introduce Cardines as historic Cardines Field because old is correct, but it's so much more than that. There's so much history involved in this place, and very, very unique. I get so used to it being here so long and being at the ballpark every day in the summer for multiple hours. You kind of get numb to it, but yeah, that's really how I would you did a good description there. Quirky, old time baseball, just very great place to watch a game and experience even walking by.
Oh, yeah. Walking by. I think the first time I noticed it was 2002, January. Obviously, no baseball was taking place there. And I was up there for a teacher convention with my mother. And I was like, what the heck is this place? And it looked old. It looked like it was from the early 1900s, maybe even the 19th century. It's very distinct. And I said, I got to get back to a game here. And lo and behold, I did that several years later. Then I started writing the original article for the website Stadium Journey. And I did a lot of research, and baseball does date back to the 1800s there. And It was an area called the Basin. It was a source of water for steam locomotives serving Newport. And the stagnant water just was unpleasant to the neighborhood there. And lo and behold, things were drained. They started building a backstop. They started adding bits and pieces. And this is what you have today. You have stone bleachers. You have a WPA ballpark, like the grandstand itself. A lot of people get confused. They say, oh, that was built in 1908, 1918. But I mean, the current stadium was sometime around 1936.
Yeah, thereabouts, sure.
Yeah, sort of like and built in patchwork style. So each section's a little different.
Piece by piece. Yeah, exactly. No, it's the first thing you see when you cross over the bridge onto it's what's called the Quidnek Island. For those of you who've been to Rhode Island, you go over the couple bridges and get into our city here of Newport, and within 2 minutes or so, you're coming right off the bridge. It's one of the first things you see. So
yes,
it becomes synonymous with the city that also is very rich in culture. So it kind of plays really well into what we have going on here as a community.
Yeah, and I think some of the yachts that are harbored a few yards away might be bigger than the stadium. It's
definitely bigger, definitely more work going on those on a daily basis than has been on this thing in the past 20 years.
I know. I tell you, Newport, if you're listening, you haven't been to Newport, Rhode Island during the summer, it's definitely a great tourist place to visit. Wonderful places to shop for antiques, lobster out the wazoo, and this quirky little ballpark that features, and I'll just name some of the things. The dugouts are on the first base side, not just home, but away. And then you have the field that just juts into different directions because it hits a neighborhood street and houses. You have, I think there was one gentleman who has his deck that comes up right to the outfield wall in left field. and you have these tall fences, you have these giant trees in the background, and I've never seen anything like it. And if, folks who are listening to the show who are not familiar with Newport, Cardines Field, go online and check it out on YouTube. And there's plenty of videos out there that describe this place. But the one thing I was impressed with is that you guys attract quite a bit of people to the ballpark. It's a tourist town. Sometimes that doesn't work for baseball, but you guys make it work there. You'll pack that parking on a consistent basis. What's the secret? What are some of the things you have to do to make sure that happens on a regular basis?
Well, it's really it's now the only baseball team in Rhode Island, or of high level baseball here. We have no more minor league teams here.
I know.
We're about an hour and a half from Boston, which most Rhode Islanders are Red Sox fans. So that geographical placement is probably
ideal.
Number one benefit for us. The kind of caliber of baseball that's being played down there. But each and every morning, because we don't own the field, the city of Newport still owns it. We're one of the users of the field. So kids who play Babe Ruth, American Legion,
Sunset League,
high school over here still play it. But it's up to us every game day to transform it into what you see at 6:35 at first pitch, or 5 p.m. when we open the gates. So we're putting out all of our American flags, we're putting out all of our banners, and as I mentioned earlier, we're right on that main strip. So we have a ton of, and we've been around since 2001. So we've drummed up a pretty solid fan base locally, and then you have hundreds of thousands of folks coming into the ballpark, to the city, each and every day. So they're seeing, game today. What's going on? What is this? And one of the things that I think also helps us is we are a nonprofit organization. We're community based and we're community driven. So our tickets are $5 for adults, $2 senior military and teens, $1 for kids. So for those who want to just pop their head in for a moment, they're invited in, rather than, saying even $20, $30, $40. You come catch an inning or two for $5, $10 for you and your spouse or your significant other, maybe kids. You're going in the ballpark for $20 maybe max. So I think that helps us a lot, and really just our marketing efforts throughout the year, and then come summertime, definitely help that as well. But many different factors that we've been fortunate to be one of the most attended summer collegiate teams, at least in the country.
Yeah, and that's impressive. The $5 price tag, and that's been that way for quite some time. It's not.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there are some ballparks you can go to where you may be paying that much, but you're not getting that history lesson. You're not getting that, oh wow, look at this place, and even the gift shop there, it's not inside the stadium, it's outside the stadium on the street. It's like a window and there's somebody in there and you're like, hey, let's check out the merchandise there. Like everything is just, from another era. And you're right. You got the bunting up there for game day, and it says game today, just something you would have seen hundreds of years ago at a ballpark. And you're right. You come in off the bridge, there's the stadium. It's one of the first things you see. And it's so close to the main street right there. It's a foul ball can cross over the street and land into the parking lot, or I think there's a hospital across the street, correct?
We have a fire department.
That's it, the fire department. And I think the parking for the stadium is offered at the tourist center as well.
Yep.
So it's just there's so many things to love about it. The one thing I enjoyed is your public announcer, Don O'Hanley, who
yes,
he is. I tell you, if you just pay $5 to listen to him for a couple innings, it's quite the experience there, because he just has this dry sense of humor, and it's he says things like, "Attention, folks! If any ball goes foul and you decide to chase it, you'll be spending the night at the local hospital." And
he's unique. He's unique.
He's unique.
Yeah, he fits the theme very well
Yes.
too, because he's celebrating his 89th birthday this year. So
Okay.
he's just as historic.
89.
Yes, sir.
The right fielder, number 7, Andrew McNeil of Stetson University. The left fielder, number 16, Connor Brookfield from the University of Missouri, a resident of Columbia, Missouri.
And how long has he been with the club for?
Since day one.
Since day one. Yeah. And yeah, he just comes out and he sits in a press area that, if you look at it, has a bunch of wires and plugs all over the place. And you're like, holy crap, how is this? Somebody could just pull a plug out. It could just screw up the whole night. It's almost like a patchwork frame, but
let's not say that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not say that. Yeah.
No. And we
devious person comes in.
Yeah. Right. Well, we do abroad. I mean, our broadcast is second to none. Our media department, to pull off what they do and get it. As opposed to an ESPN like production, as you said, with all those wires and everything running. I mean, Cardines wasn't built for HD quality.
No, it wasn't.
And entertainment.
No, it wasn't. I was listening to Burlington Sock Puppets on another podcast, and they were talking about how ESPN is coming there for their All-Star game to record it with high production level, and they were having trouble because that's an older ballpark too, from the 1930s. What kind of, and then you just mentioned how it's a little, the production team does a great job making sure that your games look good on television. What are some of the challenges of being in an older ballpark? Like, what are some of the things you do a little bit differently that some of the new ones offer?
Well, getting that stadium ready for game day. The ballpark is pretty old. The field as well, just being right near the water here, gets super, super dried out. There's a lot of play on that field.
Okay.
With other organizations playing. So getting it just ready for top Division I talent to be playing ball on it takes a good amount of efforts, takes a lot of teamwork, and then getting the stands not all dusty, getting them all cleaned up, making it nice and professional looking. Those are some of the challenges that we face, just really getting it to a level of play that mirrors our players there. So those are some of the challenges. Definitely the parking situation. We are lucky that the city of Newport are great supporters of us and what we're doing, and allow folks to park over there for only $2 with a game ticket. I mean, anywhere else in Newport, you're paying upwards of $20, $30, $40 to park for a couple hours. So that's a challenge that they assist us with. The neighbors and the ballpark neighborhood that we're situated in, a little bit of a challenge. Most folks are super accommodating, but of course there's going to be turnover and new neighbors, people buying houses, renting for the summer, that inevitably will get a baseball or two in their yard. So a little bit of a challenge, but nothing too severe to overcome, and something we've gotten used to and been able to work through. But it's just maintaining that pretty old ballpark there, sprucing up all of our storage areas, making sure those things don't get flooded and stay dry.
Okay.
Little things like that.
Yeah, because does that happen a lot, flooding, or is that a little more common than I think?
In some of our storage areas, a little bit, yeah, because there's no clubhouse, no locker rooms, nothing like that underneath the stands there. So in terms of an irrigation system, that's on ourselves here, and it gets a little dicey here and there, just and sea level and such.
And could improvements be made to correct that, or is the ballpark, its location, just so old that it doesn't? Yes and no. I mean, you can always make, no matter. I mean, if you have enough money, you can make make improvements to almost anything. We can make this place look like Fenway Park. Yeah.
or rather maybe look like SoFi Stadium if we had enough money to. But yeah, it's all good stuff. Again, really minor thing. It allows us to have that character too, and work through, each and every summer is a different adventure. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm looking at just some of the videos. I mean, you got fans coming in through these narrow gates. The concourses are very small as well. And, I just think if you went someplace new that had wide open concourses or the bells and whistles of a 21st century ballpark, I think some people would miss that old school charm. They would be a little bit disappointed, but maybe from your side, you'd be a little happier just because.
No, yeah, I mean, I love it. I love every square inch of that place, and trust me, I think I've touched and tried and scrubbed and washed and broom and everything, every square inch of that place. So I've come to know the nooks and crannies of that ballpark for sure.
I hear you. Now, obviously, you're not. Where are you? I guess I should ask the question. Are you a New England native?
No. Okay. So I was born and raised on Long Island.
Nice.
In New York, and I attended Salve Regina here in Newport, Rhode Island for college.
Okay.
And interned for the team, interned for the owners and the management of the team at the time, and stuck around and continued my time after because I was still going to school here in Newport, continued my internship past the summer, and then one thing led to another, and here I am now.
And how long? How many?
7 years later.
Oh, 6 or 7 years later. So
yeah, something like that.
So you're that success story. You were an intern, and now you have a full-time gig with the ball club.
Yeah, I got success story. We haven't won anything since I've been here. We're the most storied franchise in the league. So I don't know if I've brought them any success here on the field, but it's been an interesting ride to say the least. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had Mike Bell on from the Wilson Tops of the Coastal Plain League, and 11 years ago he started off as an intern, and now he's their GM. And there's another older ballpark that has, a lot of nooks and crannies you got to take care of. So it's good to hear those stories because in a former life I was trying to get involved in baseball and worked for various franchises in different sports, and I gave it up after a few years. I was done with it. So
yeah,
it's good.
It's definitely a lot. Baseball operations is a very, very time commitment, very time.
Definitely.
A lot. You have to be, I mean, at any time, anything can happen at that ballpark or around town, whatever it may be. And you kind of have to be on call at all times during the season, at least.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking the hours you put in, it's not a 9-to-5 job. And when you have a few games during the week, it can be a little taxing.
Yeah, no, we're lucky that we have, because we share it with a few other teams and organizations. We're lucky we have a bit of a set schedule at home, at least. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday at home is great for our organization, great for our interns, our volunteers. But, I guess one of the first questions you had asked about the marketing piece of it, people know that Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the games. So although when you pass by, you see the game today, you see the American flags, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday has been ingrained in folks now for over 20 years. Nice. Which honestly, if we have a game, just so happens, there's always one or two a year where we're not playing on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll have folks still showing up to the ballpark just because they don't even look at the schedule. They don't even bother to look at the schedule. They just go on instinct.
You know what? That's awesome to say that. Hey, they just come to the ballpark whether they know we have a game or not because it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Now, any special promotions you do on those days, or is it just?
Yeah, well, each and every night is a different theme. It's a different promotion. Tonight is our American Heroes Night, so police, fire, and EMT. Wednesday was Military Appreciation Night. We have Little League nights and all sorts of fun activities for the kids and for families. So no matter what you get at no matter what day you're there, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, beginning of June, mid-July, end of the season, you're going to have a different experience. in the ballpark, which is something that we take a lot of pride in, and another one of those marketing pieces that we really try to accomplish, because we don't want the same mundane over and over type feel. And it's because of the sponsors and because of all the folks who help present those games that we're allowed or able to keep tickets so low. And that's not our driving revenue source, is not our ticket prices. It's all our sponsors and great supporters here in the city of Newport and Quidnek Island and the state of Rhode Island for sure.
All right. So I guess a few more questions I have. If somebody were to come see a game, obviously before the game, what would you suggest for them to do around Newport? Like, what are the must places to eat?
Where are they coming from? Where are they coming from?
Well, you know what? Let's say they're coming from Indiana. They're like, oh, Newport, Rhode Island. Somebody told me this was a nice place to visit.
Yeah. Well, you got to check out the mansions.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty significant. Vanderbilt, Carnegie, all of those folks who have these lavish, just extravagant mansions that they built over a century ago, but are still being kept in pristine condition, still being kept up with. You got to check out, you got to cruise down on Bellevue Avenue and then on to Ocean Drive, where some of the newer mansions and super homes are located. So doing that little cruise down Bellevue Avenue onto Ocean Drive and just going down the coastline, that's something you absolutely need to do if you come out to Newport, Rhode Island. You can go down to one, there's no one in particular that I want to shout out or give a specific to, but get a lobster roll. It's very New England-esque. I don't think I ever had one until, even a couple of years ago, frankly. I wasn't much of a seafood guy.
I don't think I've ever had one either.
Oh, they're good. They're good.
They're good. I love lobster. They look good. I just, for some reason,
I think they're solid.
They have to be solid. I know McDonald's offers a lobster roll in New England. That's crazy to think you get lobster at a McDonald's, but it makes sense.
I don't know if that's lobster there, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
They call it lobster. That's for sure.
They call it lobster, but
maybe go down. Check out the water. Check out some of those, as you mentioned, those yachts. You got some super yachts that pair with the super mansions. Those would be the things I'd say before you get over to our game. Really just take a walk, take in the scenery, the beaches, especially if you're from Indiana. Go check out those beaches and really just take a nice leisurely walk. It is New England, pretty slow moving pace over here. I'm from New York, so it's a world different than when I go back home.
Yeah.
Those would be the touristy type things you got to check out, because those mansions, I've been here now because I went to school here as well. They're still awesome to go see and learn about and know the history behind it. There's just so much history here. And actually this week, as you're speaking with me, we have the Tennis Hall of Fame. We have the International Tennis Hall of Fame, and they host a ATP event tournament each and every year. So go check out the Hall of Fame right now. I think as we speak, Andy Murray, who is a former world number one, is playing. So definitely a rich in history community.
Yeah, because like I said, I write for Stadium Journey, and when we review a ballpark, we talk about the neighborhood, we talk about the restaurants. There's some great ballparks in towns where there's not much going on, and Newport is definitely not one of them. And I think you guys hit a 4 out of 5 on our fanfare score. Just because
where's the last point? What happened to the 5 out of 5?
You know what?
Come on.
You know what? The guy who did this is
Jumbotron?
The guy, I don't know. The guy who wrote this now is he's from Rhode Island, Paul Baker.
Okay.
I'm not calling Paul out, but he definitely could be a homer. But I think maybe the food and beverage wasn't up there.
Well, we don't have, in terms of beverage, we don't have any alcoholic beverages. So
I know. Now, is that a city ordinance or just?
It's a mixture of our decision in conjunction with just historically, we haven't ventured into that at the ballpark, and a bunch of different factors as a joint decision.
Now,
all parties.
Now, when I was there, there was a bar down the right field that had an enclosed patio, and I've heard that. Is that still there, or is it something else?
Yeah, that structure is still there. Same setup, but it is no longer a bar where you can go grab a beer off the street, or go grab a burger, on a Tuesday at 4. So it's no longer that, but it is. You can still go watch some of our ball games there. We actually use it as a private event space. That's what it's used for throughout the whole year. We don't own that structure and that facility, but we partnered up with the folks who do own it. So still there. You can still watch a game from that area, just not exactly how it was a few years ago.
Yeah, because I think when I was there about 5 years ago, I think it was about five or six. It was called the 1909 bar, and you go there, get something to eat. Yeah, the public house. There you go. You go there, get some eat, drink a beer. That was like the only part of the stadium you can do that.
Yeah.
But you weren't really inside. You were inside the stadium, but not kind of. You didn't have to buy a ticket to get in there. So adding to the quirkiness of the proceedings. So it's so now, do you still bring in food trucks down the third baseline?
So we don't do that. We have so since you've been here, we've done everything now in-house. We have our own concession stand. So we're cooking burgers and dogs and sausage, peppers, all that stuff out of our concession stand. Yeah. So we got that back up and running.
Yeah. And that's kind of all you need is just some sausage, some hot dogs, burgers, that's you don't need to,
in the summertime.
Yeah, that's I went to a game in Cincinnati, another summer collegiate league, and they had a small grill, hot dogs, sausages, burgers, Pepsi, for everything was $1. And they charged it was a nice small little ballpark. I'm like, wow, this is a nice little deal here, but it's a much smaller organization that they do those things at. It's like I tell people, you'd be surprised how many different places have a baseball team during the summer, and some of these places are not that far from you, and you may have a nice time, and may not be the major leagues, but you're definitely getting a much, I think, more humble experience. So it's but yeah, I love Cardines Field. It's when people tell me, hey Mark, what's one of the strangest ballparks, what's the most interesting, Cardines always pops up. That's pretty much number one. And there's a few other places, but I mean, Cardines, there's so many things I could tell people about. And I was just down in Austin, Texas, and my cousin Susan, her boyfriend, they used to live he lived in Newport with his ex-wife, and his daughter was like, oh, I love Newport. And I said, hey, have you been to Cardines Field? Oh yeah, that's a great ballpark. So like, she knew about it. So that was a nice little talking point. So before I let you go, just let people know why should they come to Newport? I think we explained why, but why should they attend the game? What will they get out of it?
Yeah, we touched upon a lot of points there. I mean, it starts with the baseball. This is some of the best players in the country, the future major leaguers. One of our taglines, kind of the major league stars of tomorrow in Newport today. And it's true. We have 30 guys who have reached the major leagues. So you're getting really, really, really high quality baseball in a setting that is like your local high school or like your local, backyard pickup game. You're right on top of the action. That's number one. Number two, we keep, it's a family friendly, affordable night which you can't get many other places in the country these days, especially at a sporting event. And we want to keep it that way. We want people to have a safe place to go build memories, build experiences with each other, and congregate and have a really nice evening out together. That being said, every inning, every break in the action, we have something going on for the kids. We don't sell alcohol like we touched upon. So, it's a very safe environment. Even if you want to leave the kids hang, to watch them a couple innings, hang out with their friends and go downtown and do dinner and have an adult night or something, then come back.
Babysitters.
I wouldn't say it's that fun, but
there's
a great.
I've heard that
fun,
before.
It's fun for everybody. You're getting some great baseball. There's a lot of that historic nature behind it, and catching a game. You have a great geography, great history, great, very a lot of places in nature you can go visit around here. So, we have a lot going on here in Newport, and we're very proud of it. Happy to be a part of the community as a little aspect of it, and hope that you guys come join us and come see what we have going on here.
Yeah, like I said, you're not too far away from Boston, or New York, or Hartford, or it's in Newport
for that matter.
Yeah, you're right.
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, and it fits in well with a ballpark visit to some other stadiums in the area. Unfortunately, Pawtucket's gone, but there's still a few more out there. So
yeah, absolutely.
So Mike, I just want to. I noticed you have a Mets calendar. Are you a Mets fan?
Absolutely.
Oh, right.
City Field right behind me.
Me Absolutely. Too. I saw the Red Sox poster, and I'm like, yeah, he's a Red Sox guy. And he said Long Island, and then I said, oh, wait a minute, that's a Mets logo.
No. My hatred for the Yankees runs pretty deep. So always growing up, I mean, Mets by leaps and bounds, but we were always Sox fans growing up too.
Okay.
So definitely. I love the Sox. I just mutually hate for that.
I could tell you what I wasn't rooting for the Sox was in 1986 when I was a small little pup watching the Mets Game 6.
I haven't had to worry about that.
Yeah. It's I don't know.
This is the year you got to believe.
I tell you, it feels like those 80s teams. Maybe not quite there yet, but definitely on the right step. So. Let's hope Buck gets everything going, and let's hope Jake is back in full form after the All-Star break. He looked good last night in Syracuse, so we need him, and let's hope Alonso starts crushing a little bit more.
Keeps crushing.
He keeps crushing. I just
24th, I think, right?
24th. I mean, he's all about that. He was a little bit off the last 10 games, but everybody goes through their streaks.
You're a slugger. You got 24 jacks before the season.
I know.
That's where you want to be.
I'm going to tell you, there's some Met fans that they're not happy. I mean,
with what?
They're concerned about Atlanta coming back, and they're concerned that Atlanta was like 1.5 games, and the Mets are going to choke up the lead, or they lost 1-0 to Cincinnati. Like, they want to see the Mets sweep teams. They want to see the Mets. They want to see
Mets fans because they know who the Mets are.
You get a lot of Met fans that are just like old doom and gloom, and I get it. I can get like that at times. Like, I got upset when the Mets lost to Seattle a few months ago, and somebody goes, "Dude, it's April, relax." And I said, "Yeah, maybe I do need to relax."
Got a good team this year.
Yeah, no, you're right, and
it's Major League Baseball. People don't realize that every night these guys are going out.
You're right.
The caliber of baseball they're playing. I mean, they're facing 90, 95, upwards of 100 miles per hour, whoever they're facing. So no game's an easy game.
No.
And to do what they're doing right now is spectacular and fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're 22 games above 500 and people are complaining. It's like if somebody said, hey, the Mets will be in first place, maybe 3-4 games up on the Braves at the All-Star break. Lindor would be fifth in the league in RBIs, or fourth. You take it. Because people are upset with him. Oh, we should have kept Jimenez. He's batting 300 for Cleveland, and we have his contract. I mean, but he's performing. He's batting 240.
Perform in the playoffs. That's when you perform. When you're paying stars, because the difference is with good players and that we trade away, and not superstar players like Lindor, is you pay those guys to perform in the playoffs. You can do whatever you want in the regular season. Hit 300, hit 330. But if you haven't been there, Lindor's been there before. He knows the bright lights. He knows the World pressure of the playoffs. So I'm okay with him hitting 250 in the regular season going into the playoffs, because I'm more confident in somebody like that than second or third year guy who's having a good year in the regular season.
Yeah. And then a few months ago, I had Jared Kelnick's father on here for a podcast.
Oh,
and
cool.
We brushed upon. I didn't realize that until he mentioned his son. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're Jared's father. That was another source of irony, of anger for Met fans. We traded him for Cano. We lost that trade, and Diaz is killing it this year. So it's being a Met fan. I just want to see. I want to see my team consistently win, kind of like the Red Sox. You may have a few off years, but then you get back. And I just want to see the Yankees tank. Like I cannot stand the Yankees. I know they shouldn't get to me,
Reds
but
took him for 2 out of 3, huh?
Yeah, the Reds took him for 2 out of 3. I mean, who knew that? Who saw that coming? But see, I tell certain Met fans of a younger generation, I remember the 1980s. Those were great years for the Mets. They dominated the sports world. They should have won at least one more World Series. But I get it. I talk to Yankee fans.
15 too.
Oh God, 15. My wife still gets mad at me because we were out on Halloween and I went home.
I remember. Oh yeah.
I'm watching the game. I'm like, damn, I'm going home.
Watching that ball go under Daniel Murphy's glove.
Oh, Murphy. And then Murphy, that game, you're up 2-0 in the ninth. Oh, you're bringing back some bad memories.
Oh yeah, let's not do that. I was having a good day, man.
Yeah, my wife, she's like,
let's end this thing on a high note.
My wife tells me that I don't get emotional with her. The only thing I get emotional about are Met games. So she thinks I go, hey, the Mets were here first. So, all right.
Yeah,
hey,
I'll start using that.
Yeah, exactly. First place. We're up 3.5 on the Braves.
Gulls are in first place. We got
Gulls are in first place.
Keep rolling. Yep.
And let's just keep rolling. It's a long season, and hopefully in October we're celebrating. So
hopefully you have me back on then.
All right. We'll bring you back on. We'll just talk about the Mets. I have no problem doing that. In fact, that'd be a nice little dream. All right, Michael, thank you for coming on. And
thanks for having me.
Best of luck to the rest of the season. And if you haven't been to Cardines Field and you are somewhere near Newport, or you're thinking about taking a trip, if you're living in New Jersey where I'm from, and you're thinking, oh, what can I do with my kids? Go up to Newport, check out a game and check out the scenery out there. Plenty of stuff to do for the kids and for the adults. So, all right.
Thanks again. Right. We'll see you again up here real soon. Hopefully.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All righty. Bye now.
Bye. All right. That was Michael Falcone from your Newport Gulls baseball and fellow Met fans. So that's awesome to talk a little Mets baseball. Of course, I think by the time this episode airs live, it may be after the All-Star break. So let's hope the Mets are like 7 games up on the Braves, those pesky Braves. I don't know who I get annoyed with more, the Braves or the Yankees. Because even when the Mets in the late 90s had Piazza and Bobby Valentine and Leiter and Ventura and Olerud and all those cats, they couldn't really get past the Braves in that division. But yeah, it's tough being a Met fan, especially if you don't remember 69 or 86, or you don't remember a certain era. But that's what it's like being a fan, and that's, and I'm going to get off subject here, but I mean, some people really get into politics. Like they go on Facebook and they just start babbling nonsense or their political beliefs. And I'm up there posting stuff about the Mets. So I'm glad that I'm not doing that on the political aspect, but yes, Newport Gulls. You can check out my video on YouTube. It's from a few years ago. Beautiful, old, just quirky ballpark. And I think I do a nice job of setting things up. And that was before I was really recording ballparks for the site. I was just there recording bits and pieces. But I was up there with Stephen Key, who I don't know if he still writes for Stadium Journey, but he was like, man, this PA announcer is something else. You got to record him. And I think part of us were trying to annoy him just to see what he would tell us. Like we just wanted him to give us a look and tell us to, buzz off, because he looks like he would do that to you. So Don is 89. God bless him. God bless him. My father is going to be 93 this year. Would love to take my dad up to a game and him and Don could just talk about the good old days when they were young. And, Don would probably talk about baseball. And my dad would probably talk about soccer. So that would be a fun little, conversation. Plus my dad needs to get out and hang out with people his own age. You know what I mean? So yeah, my dad's not the biggest baseball fan. I can do a podcast on that. I may do that one day, maybe for Father's Day, where we talk about how some dads take their kids out and play catch with, or teach them how to swing a bat, or teach them how to bunt or steal. And, my dad would take me to Shea Stadium and he'd bring a book to read. Or, he would tell me, okay, I'll take you to the baseball game, but no doubleheader. I don't want to see a doubleheader. Or I took him to a Vermont. Hold on. Ooh. Took him to a Vermont Lake Monsters game. And he's sitting next to me and he's like, I really don't understand this game. Like, he hits the ball, but he doesn't run. I said, well, that's a foul ball. Well, why is that a foul ball? I said, because those are the foul lines and it didn't go. I'm like, my God, my dad really doesn't understand this game. It's so, and I get it. I watch cricket. I don't understand what's going on there. And I would probably have the same questions, That's why my dad likes soccer. He and I can watch soccer. He gets into it, fast paced moving, but baseball and American football are the two sports he really can't stand. So thankfully, I like baseball. I don't know how that happened, but that's why I do the Ballpark Hunter podcast. That's why I go to different ballparks. And that's why I try to bring some nice conversations to the world of baseball podcast. I am not the only one. You can check out other guys like Ed Rivera on the Dad Hat Chronicles. You can check out Paul Caputo. He does Baseball by Design. He actually has like several people on. He talks more about the logos and the designs, and he gets the design team studios on his shows to have those conversations. So he does a little bit more. And then Twitter, you got guys like Zach Beeson, who I think every day has a hat. I wonder how many hats he has. So I'm gonna test. I'm gonna give him a little exit ticket. You know how teachers give out exit tickets to their kids? Zach, how many baseball caps do you have? Please tell me. Zach Beeson. And all you have to do is reply to me in a mail with the number. And that way I know you listen to this podcast. And I may do that every day. And I may not do it at the end. I may do it in between. No, he's a really good listener, and I appreciate you listening, Zach. I don't know how many other people are listening. I don't have numbers per se, but you gotta give a shout out to those who listen, because I wouldn't be here without some of you guys. I appreciate the asking me for stickers and giving me shout outs. Spencer Collins is another person. He has a YouTube page where it's he goes on different stadium tours, and he does the same thing I do, but he gives you a lot more information and voiceover. So he does an excellent job, and he's going to crush it. He's going to get 1,000 people much sooner than I did. He's also much younger than me, so he probably will be doing this for a long time. But he does a great job with his page, and who knows, maybe one day he'll start a podcast, because that's how it happens. You do one thing, somebody tells you to do something else, and then the next thing is you're kind of hitting your stride. So I do this for the love, and thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it, and we will see you next time. So until then, check me out on stadiumjourney.com. Check me out on Ballpark Hunter on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Until next time, folks, stay safe, stay merry, happy journeys.